The arrival. The Galactic Council chamber hummed with nervous energy as representatives from 47 star systems gathered for an emergency session. At the center of their discussion was a single human female, currently held in maximum containment 3 levels below. Commander Vorak of the Zalathi Empire stood at the podium, his scaled hide shifting colors with barely contained excitement. "Esteemed colleagues," Vorak began, his forearms spreading wide in a gesture of triumph. "After 3 solar cycles of pursuit, we have finally captured the terrorist responsible for the Andromeda Station massacre. The human female known as Maya Chen will face justice in the arena of truth within the hour." The assembled beings erupted in a mixture of cheers and worried chittering. Humans were the stuff of legend, whispered about in the darkest corners of space stations. Their homeworld, Earth, had been quarantined for 500 years after first contact had gone catastrophically wrong. The few humans who escaped the quarantine zone were usually captured quickly, but Maya Chen had evaded them for 3 years, leaving a trail of destruction that spanned half the galaxy. In the holding cell beneath the arena, Maya Chen sat cross-legged on the metal floor, her eyes closed in meditation. She was smaller than most expected, standing at just 5 feet 8 inches with black hair tied in a practical bun and wearing the standard gray prisoner jumpsuit. Her calm demeanor unnerved the guards who watched her through reinforced plasma barriers. "She hasn't moved in 6 hours, whispered Krell, a young Vorthan guard, to his superior. "Is she broken? Maybe the neural suppressors work too well?" Chief Guard Thax narrowed all 6 of his eyes at the human. "The suppressors are at maximum. She should barely be conscious, let alone sitting upright. Something's not right here." Maya opened her eyes slowly, meeting Thax's gaze through the barrier. She smiled, a simple human expression that somehow made every guard in the room step back. "The show's about to start, isn't it?" she asked, her voice carrying a strange mixture of sadness and resignation. "You really should have listened when I told you I didn't blow up that station." The arena of truth was a marvel of engineering, a massive coliseum floating in the vacuum of space, protected by atmospheric shields and artificial gravity. 50,000 beings filled the viewing platforms, their excitement palpable as they waited for the execution to begin. The arena floor itself was a kilometer wide, its surface adaptable to any combat environment. Administrator Nexus floated above the arena in his command pod, his gelatinous form pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. Through the translation matrix, his voice boomed across the stadium. "Citizens of the Galactic Federation, today we witness justice. The human terrorist Maya Chen, destroyer of Andromeda Station, killer of 3,000 innocent beings, will face our greatest champions in combat. As tradition demands, survival means innocence, death means guilt." The crowd roared its approval. The betting pools had already reached astronomical figures, though notably, no one was betting on the human's survival. The containment pod descended into the arena, its shields flickering off as Maya stepped onto the sandy floor. She stretched casually, rolling her shoulders and neck as if preparing for a morning jog rather than a fight to the death. The neural suppressors should have left her barely able to walk, yet she moved with fluid grace. "Release the first champion," Nexus commanded. The arena floor split open and a platform rose carrying Gorath the Destroyer, a Rexian warrior who stood 12 feet tall. His exoskeleton was covered in battle scars, each one a testament to his 100 victories in the arena. His 4 arms each held a different weapon, a plasma blade, a gravity hammer, a molecular disruptor, and a sonic devastator. Maya looked up at him, tilting her head slightly. "That's a lot of weapons for one person," she observed conversationally. "Compensating for something?" Gorath roared, a sound that shattered several viewing screens. He charged forward, all 4 weapons activating simultaneously. The crowd leaned forward in anticipation of the quick, brutal end. Maya sidestepped at the last possible moment, moving just enough to let Gorath's momentum carry him past. As he passed, her hand shot out, fingers finding a spot just behind his 3rd arm joint. There was a sound like breaking ceramics, and Gorath the Destroyer crumpled to the ground, his nervous system completely shut down by a single, precise strike. The arena fell silent. The timer on the main display showed 8 seconds. "Next," Maya called out, brushing imaginary dust from her jumpsuit. 3 more platforms rose simultaneously. The council had abandoned protocol, sending multiple champions at once. Sira the Swift, a Cathan assassin who could move faster than most species could see. Brutus 9, A military combat android with reaction times measured in nanoseconds, and something that made even the crowd gasp. A void stalker, a creature of living shadow that existed partially in another dimension. Maya watched them emerge with what looked like professional interest. Oh, good variety. I was worried this would be boring. Sierra attacked first, moving in a blur of motion that should have been impossible to track. Maya's hand moved once, catching the assassin by the throat mid-strike. Speed without purpose is just running in circles, she said quietly, before tossing Sierra into Brutus 9 with enough force to embed both in the arena wall. The Void Stalker tried to phase through dimensions to attack from behind, but Maya was already turning, her fist somehow connecting with something that shouldn't have been solid. The creature materialized fully, a hole punched clean through its center. Interesting, Maya mused, examining her hand. Quantum entanglement on a biological level. Your scientist would have a field day with that. 4 more champions, 37 seconds total. The crowd was beginning to panic. Administrator Nexus was no longer pulsing with confidence. His bioluminescence had taken on a distinctly nervous flicker. Release! Release champions 5 through 8, he commanded, his voice notably less enthusiastic. This time, the arena delivered its most exotic fighters, twins from the Psychic Collective, capable of attacking the mind directly. A crystalline shard beast that could split into 1,000 cutting fragments. And Maximus Prime, a captured and reprogrammed human combat android from the old Earth Wars, a reminder of humanity's own violent past. Maya's expression changed for the first time, showing genuine interest when she saw Maximus Prime. M-Series 3rd generation. I thought these were all destroyed after the Mars Rebellion. The psychic twins attacked first, their mental assault designed to shatter consciousness itself. Maya winced slightly, then smiled. Cute trick, but human minds are already chaos. You're basically trying to disorganize a hurricane. She moved toward them with purposeful strides. The twins tried to retreat, but Maya was faster than she should have been. 2 precise nerve strikes later, and the psychics were unconscious on the ground. The shard beast exploded into its 1,000-piece form, creating a whirling storm of death. Maya stood still in the center of it, her hands moving in a pattern too fast for most cameras to capture. When the beast tried to reform, it found that somehow, impossibly, the human had tied its crystalline fragments into an elaborate knot. Maximus Prime was the only one that gave her pause. The android moved with mechanical precision, matching Maya's movements perfectly. They exchanged a series of blows that created sonic booms, the impact shaking the entire arena structure. You're holding back, Maximus Prime's synthesized voice observed. Your file indicates capability far exceeding current output. Maya nodded. I'm trying not to kill anyone. Despite what you think, I'm not a murderer. Irrelevant. Mission parameters require your termination. I know, Maya said sadly. I'm sorry about this. She moved faster than even the android could track, her palm striking its chest panel. There was a brief electrical discharge and Maximus Prime shut down, its eyes dimming to black. 8 champions defeated. Total time, 2 minutes, 14 seconds. The arena was in chaos. Spectators were fleeing for the exits. The betting pools had crashed so completely that the automated systems had declared bankruptcy. In the command pod, Administrator Nexus was in emergency communication with the Galactic Council. What do you mean the remaining champions refused to enter? He said, his form pulsing erratically. Sir, came the response from the holding area. They've barricaded themselves in their cells. They say they'd rather face execution than fight the human. The guards are refusing to enforce the order. They say they have families. Maya sat down in the middle of the arena, crossing her legs again in that same meditative pose. She looked up at the command pod and spoke, her voice somehow carrying clearly despite the chaos. Can we talk now? Or do you need more demonstrations? The Reckoning. The second hour began with an unprecedented event in the arena of Truth's 1,000-year history, complete abandonment by the combat staff. Guards, handlers, and even the medical teams had evacuated to minimum safe distance. Only automated systems kept the arena functioning, and Administrator Nexus remained in his command pod out of duty rather than courage. Maya Chen still sat in the center of the arena floor, patient as stone. Around her lay the defeated champions, all unconscious but breathing. She had taken care not to kill, a fact that wasn't lost on those still watching through remote feeds. Maya Chen, Nexus's voice echoed through the empty arena. "The Galactic Council is willing to discuss terms." Maya stood slowly, dusting off her jumpsuit. "Finally. Though I should mention, you've made several critical errors in judgment today." "Enlighten us," Nexus replied, trying to maintain authority despite his fear. "First," Maya began, walking casually around the arena as she spoke, "you assumed I blew up Andromeda Station based on the presence of human DNA and Terran explosives. You never considered that someone might be framing Earth. Second, you thought your neural suppressors would work on me. They might have worked on a normal human, but I'm not exactly normal, even by Earth standards." She paused near the unconscious form of Gorath the Destroyer, checking his pulse with surprising gentleness. "Third, and most importantly, you assumed that capturing one human and making a spectacle of it would send a message to Earth. Instead, you've just demonstrated to the entire galaxy why we were quarantined in the first place." In the council chambers, emergency sessions were being held across 47 star systems simultaneously. The footage of Maya's fight had spread through quantum networks faster than anyone could contain it. One small human had defeated 8 of the galaxy's greatest warriors in under 3 minutes, and she claimed to have been holding back. Council leader Zarth, an ancient being whose species had achieved spaceflight before humans had discovered fire, addressed the assembly. "We may have miscalculated. The intelligence reports from the quarantine zone have always been conservative in their estimates of human capabilities." "Conservative?" screeched Representative Killex of the Avian Confederation. "She defeated a Void Stalker with her bare hands. That's not conservative, that's a complete intelligence failure." Back in the arena, Maya had found a relatively clean spot to sit again. "You know," she said conversationally to Nexus, "humans have a saying, speak softly and carry a big stick. For the past 500 years, Earth has been speaking very, very softly. We accepted the quarantine. We stayed on our planet and our 3 colony worlds. We didn't push back even though we could have. Do you know why?" Nexus pulsed nervously. "Enlighten me." "Because we scared ourselves," Maya said simply. "The wars that led to things like Maximus Prime, the biological modifications that created people like me, the weapons that could crack planets. We looked at what we were becoming and decided to step back. The quarantine wasn't your prison for us. It was our self-imposed timeout to figure out how to exist without destroying everything we touched." She stood again, looking directly at the command pod. "But then someone destroyed Andromeda Station and framed us for it. Someone wanted to drag Earth back into galactic affairs. Someone wanted to see what would happen if you poked the sleeping dragon. The implications hung in the air like a toxic cloud. If Earth had been restraining itself voluntarily, if the quarantine was more for the galaxy's protection than Earth's imprisonment, then the current situation was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined." "We've made inquiries," Nexus said carefully. "The real perpetrator has been identified. A rogue faction of the Zalathi Empire seeking to destabilize the region for territorial gain. Commander Vorak has been arrested." Maya nodded. "Good start. Now let's discuss what happens next. You're making demands. You're still a prisoner here." Maya laughed, a sound that somehow carried both warmth and menace. "Am I? Your guards won't come near me. Your champions are either unconscious or hiding. Your entire station is one panic away from complete evacuation. I could walk out of here right now and no one would stop me. But I'm not going to do that." "Why not?" "Because," Maya said, her voice becoming serious, "I'm Earth's first official diplomat in 500 years. My capture wasn't an accident. Earth sent me knowing I'd eventually be caught, knowing you'd try something like this. We wanted to send a message, just not the one you were expecting." The revelation sent shockwaves through the Watching Council. Earth had planned this? They had sent one of their modified humans into the galaxy as bait? "The message is simple," Maya continued. "Earth is ready to rejoin the galactic community, but on our terms. No more treating us like monsters to be contained. No more quarantine. We've spent 5 centuries learning to control our nature, to channel our capabilities constructively. We're ready to be partners, not prisoners." "And if we refuse?" Nexus asked, though he already suspected the answer. "Then we'll leave," Maya said simply. "All of us. We've developed FTL technology that doesn't rely on your hyperspace lanes. We've found other galaxies, other places to explore. We don't need you, but we'd prefer to coexist. The question is whether you're ready to coexist with us." The arena fell silent as the weight of the decision settled on everyone watching. Accept humanity as equals and risk their dangerous nature, or reject them and potentially make an enemy of a species that could produce beings like Maya Chen. Your council has 1 hour to decide, Maya announced. In the meantime, could someone please send medical teams for these champions? They'll be fine, but they should probably be checked for concussions. The next hour was the longest in the Galactic Federation's history. Debates raged across every inhabited world. Some species called for immediate acceptance, terrified of what rejection might mean. Others wanted to strengthen the quarantine, to build bigger walls between themselves and humanity. But the footage from the arena kept playing on every screen. One human, suppressed by drugs that should have left her helpless, defeating 8 champions without killing a single one. The restraint was perhaps more terrifying than the violence would have been. It suggested a level of control, of choice that made humanity not just dangerous but unpredictable. When the hour ended, Council Leader Zarth himself appeared on the main screen above the arena. His ancient voice carried the weight of history as he spoke. Maya Chen, representative of Earth, the Galactic Federation accepts your terms. The quarantine is officially lifted. Humanity is welcomed back into the galactic community as full members, with all rights and responsibilities that entails. Maya stood and bowed formally. Earth accepts and appreciates the Federation's decision. We look forward to a peaceful and productive relationship. However, Zarth continued, there will be conditions. Integration will be gradual. Exchange programs to foster understanding, and Earth must share information about the full extent of human capabilities so there are no more surprises. Agreed, Maya said, though you might want to sit down when you read some of those reports. As the atmospheric shields of the arena powered down and ships began arriving to collect the unconscious champions, Administrator Nexus found the courage to ask one final question. Maya Chen, if you had wanted to, could you have killed everyone on this station? Maya paused at the arena's exit, looking back with an expression that was almost sad. Administrator, I could have done it without leaving my cell. The neural suppressors never worked. I sat there for 6 hours meditating, trying to find a way to resolve this without violence. The fact that only 8 people got hurt today, that's what human restraint looks like. She walked out of the arena, leaving behind a galaxy forever changed. The champions would recover, bearing no shame in their defeat. How could there be shame in losing to something that operated outside the normal bounds of physics and biology? The betting pools would be restructured, the Arena of Truth would implement new protocols, and the Galactic Federation would begin the slow, careful process of integrating humanity. But in the deepest halls of power where the real decisions were made, one truth echoed loudly. The monsters of Earth weren't monsters because they were savage. They were monsters because they chose not to be, and that choice could change at any moment. 6 months later, Earth's first embassy opened on the Federation capital world. Ambassador Maya Chen, formerly prisoner 2847 Delta, stood at the podium addressing a crowd of thousands. She wore formal human diplomatic attire, looking nothing like the woman who had terrified the galaxy in a prison jumpsuit. 500 years ago, she began, humanity and the galaxy met in violence and fear. Today we meet in hope and partnership. We've learned much in our isolation, but the most important lesson was this. Strength without wisdom is destruction, but wisdom without strength is meaningless. Today, humanity offers both to the galaxy. The crowd's reception was mixed: enthusiasm, fear, curiosity, suspicion. It would take generations to fully integrate, to build trust, to heal the wounds of the past. But as Maya looked out at the sea of alien faces, she smiled. Humanity had spent 5 centuries preparing for this moment, learning to be more than their nature demanded. The galaxy thought they were welcoming back the monsters. In truth, they were welcoming back something far more dangerous. Monsters who had learned to build rather than break, to protect rather than destroy, to choose peace when war would be so much easier. The age of human isolation was over. The age of partnership had begun, and somewhere in the deepest vaults of Earth's military command, files marked Absolute Last Resort remained sealed. Their contents a reminder of what humanity could become if the galaxy ever forgot why the quarantine had been necessary in the first place. For now, though, peace reigned. And Maya Chen, the woman who had brought 8 champions to their knees without taking a life, stood as the symbol of humanity's promise. We are dangerous, but we choose to be kind. The galaxy would never be the same.